Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, today's class is going to be really, really cool. Really cool. And one of the things that I wanted to, just give you guys heads up is that I'm going to be talking in English probably 90% of this class to be a great reference for you to practice your English. I know it's fun, it's really cool falar português e tal, fazer brincadeiras, but I think we should, and not slowly, I think we should do it right off the bat. We don't have time to waste. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. And please me diga aí, caso você esteja caindo de paraquedas aqui, como eu falo lá nas Magic Stories. Se você caiu aqui de paraquedas, está entrando pela primeira vez, apareceu o link para você chegar aqui. Este é o nosso encontro semanal, chamado Agora Eu Falo Meetups, exclusivo para os participantes do Agora Eu Falo Experience. E, claro, para que as pessoas possam conhecer, é de propósito, tá, gente? Não é porque a gente a gente é bonzinho, ok? Nós somos bonzinhos, mas é uma forma, e eu acho que todos compreendem, é uma forma das pessoas conhecerem o nosso trabalho. O nosso trabalho é muito legal. E a gente, de verdade, e há 13 anos tem sido assim, eu divulgo muito pouco. Eu divulgo muito, muito, muito pouco. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen today. We all know that last week, exactly 1 week ago, it was November the 3rd, and it was election day in the United States. And as you all know, I'm very much into the American culture, not the American culture, but I like, because I have lived in the United States, I'm always in touch with the news and with what's going on in America. And every 4 years, I follow the elections in the United States. And I must say that this was really a historical election moment in the United States. Okay, as far as I know, and during my entire life, I have never seen what happened last week in the American elections. I had never seen anything like that. This was really, really historical. And because I follow all the news and I like to understand what's going on and how the election process works, I started talking to friends, and I noticed that there is a lot of confusion amongst Brazilians as far as the American elections is concerned. People here in Brazil, they are not very familiar with the American election process. So I decided to give you my point of view, okay? What I understand, what I learned about the election process, and what I can teach you on the matter. I wrote some notes here on my pad. So let's start by explaining what the United States stand right now. Okay, America nowadays is completely divided, completely politically divided, and not socially, but politically. It's completely divided. It's 50-50. Half of the United States support one idea, and the other half supports a different idea. These two ideas are represented by two major political parties. And these are the major political parties. The Democrats, DP stands for Democratic Party, and the Republicans. The Republicans are the GOP. That stands for Grand, let me write that here. Grand Old Party. Okay? Grand Old Party. The Grand Old Party is the Republican Party. All right? Now, Leo, are there other parties? Are there other candidates? Yes. Okay? Remember, the United States is a democratic country, and any person can be a candidate for Senate, Congress, or the president of the United States. All right? But what happens is, throughout the history of the United States, these two parties concentrated most of the politicians. So all the standout politicians in the United States either belong to Democrats, to the Democratic Party, or to the Republican parties, to the Republican Party. Is there a different party? Yes, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are politicians who are completely independent, and they get to be elected. And they participate, but we don't see it. All right? And what really matters is the blue Democrat and the red Republican Party. All right? So by telling you this, it is important that you understand that because of the historical events and all the history of the United States, it has been Democrats against Republicans. Right? Good. And I wrote down here that Democrats and Republicans have been alternating in the presidency of the United States. So, for example, from 1992 to 2000, we had Bill Clinton. It's blue here because Bill Clinton was Democratic, was from the Democratic Party. From 2000 to 2008, we had George W. Bush. And remember, before Bill Clinton, we had George W. Bush's father. After George W. Bush, from 2008 to 2016, we had Barack Obama, a Democrat, for 8 years. And then 2016, we had Trump, elected president of the United States, winning over Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton's wife. So as you can see, normally the president stays there for 2 terms. What is a term? Mandato.
Very
4
good.
years, election, 4 more years. So Bill Clinton won the second election. George W. Bush won the second election. Obama won the second election. Trump won his first election. 4 years later, it's today. So Trump, Republican, Biden, Democrat. Now, so this is just to show you how powerful the democratic system in the United States is, because they're always alternating. So there is this alternation in power throughout the history of the United States. It is very, very common for a Republican president stays 8 years, a Democrat president stays another 8 years, and goes like that back and forth. Only few presidents had only 1 term. One of them was Jimmy Carter before Ronald Reagan, right? And it seems that now Trump is the second or third one to I'm not sure if there were more, but ever since Jimmy Carter, Trump is the first one, right? Now, how does the election in the United States work? And this is my favorite part, all right? Because here in Brazil, we watch a Jornal Nacional and the Brazilian media outlets trying to explain, but it sounds a lot more complicated than it is. But I don't know why, or I don't know how. It sounds more complicated, but it's not that complicated. Follow me here, okay? The United States of America is composed by 50 states, and it's a republic. It's a republic with 50 independent states. What does that mean? It means that each state forms their own set of rules, of laws. Each state has their own set of laws. There is a judicial system, okay, court of law, everything in the state. All they have to do is be under the Constitution of the United States. If it's okay, if it's constitutionally okay, the state is free to set any kind of rules or regulation. Okay, it's different from Brazil, right? In Brazil, the states, they have some sort of independence, but not full independence as it is in the United States. All right, good. Saying that, each state runs its own election. So when it's an election for the White House and the Congress, which is representatives and the Senate, when it's this kind of election, like it was last week, each state runs their own elections for representative, Senate, and president. Okay? So it's independent. There is no Tribunal Superior Eleitoral. All right? There isn't such a thing. Anyway, these states, they elect the lawmakers. The lawmakers são os legisladores, okay? Which are the senators and representatives. The representatives are deputado estadual. Don't say deputy, okay? Don't say deputy. Deputado, em inglês, não é deputy. All right? Existe a palavra deputy e eu vou te deixar pendurado para saber o que é o deputy, porque eu não vou te dizer agora, senão eu vou te contar. All right? Good. All the senators and representatives are elected by popular vote. People vote, they count the votes of the people, and they elect the representatives and the senators. Okay? Just like in Brazil. The only difference is that each election is run by the state. But for president is a little different. We have the popular vote. People vote for Trump or Biden, okay? But these votes technically are not enough to choose the president of the United States, okay? So that's why, and I'll explain a little later, a president can gain the majority of the popular vote and not become the president of the United States. All right? Why? Because an electoral college decides who wins. Okay? And that is the part that Brazilians don't understand. Okay? Brazilians don't understand this. Each state, and I think it's right here. Okay. Each state counts their own votes. Okay? Each state has a number of delegates, a minimum of 3 delegates. So small states with few people, not small in population, okay? They have 3. And big states like California, Texas, and Florida, they have a lot of delegates, okay? And that is what matters. So these delegates, this is important too. Brazilians don't know that. These delegates are ordinary people chosen by their own communities. They are not politicians. All right? Quando eu digo, os delegados da Flórida, os delegados disso, they are normal people, vizinho da esquina, que toma café no bar do Zé. All right? These are, and these people are chosen for many reasons, but they are normal people, and they are delegates for many years. They remain delegates of that state for many years. Now, you will understand, if you want to understand why, por quê que para presidente we need the votes of delegates, deixe o seu comentário aí dizendo, eu quero saber por que é por delegado. And then I'll explain why, historically speaking, why. All right? These delegates são quem elegem o presidente dos Estados Unidos. These delegates. And they are 538 delegates. Okay? 538 throughout the United States. Now, let me show you here. And I'm gonna bring this one here too. Okay, this one is nice. No, not this one. This one here. Okay. All right. Now, Guga, can you see this little map here?
Absolutely, and I'm loving it already.
So these are the states of the United States. Notice that each one has a number, okay? Each one has a number. These are the numbers of delegates. Now, guys, this happens, isso acontece por uma razão muito simples. Para que o candidato ou os candidatos não ignorem os estados pequenos. Assim, os estados pequenos com população menor podem decidir uma eleição. All right? So each state has a number. Washington, 12, Idaho, 4, Alaska. Tá vendo? Alaska é gigante, only 3. Why? Because the population is very small. California, 55 votes in 55 delegates in California, 38 in Texas, 29 in Florida, 20 in Pennsylvania, 29 in New York, right? So these are the largest ones, okay? California, Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, and New York. And I'm going to show you that not necessarily the large states make the difference. They don't make the difference. Okay? So, before I show you what happened, antes de eu mostrar para você o que aconteceu, I'm going to show you some vocabulary in English that you should learn related to the election. All right? The historical election of 2020, terms you should know. The first one that you should know is in-person votes. In-person vote is the vote that the person on November 3rd goes there and cast their vote. É o que a gente faz no Brasil. O único jeito no Brasil é o in-person vote. All right? Para presidente, sim, existe uma exceção, existe o voto internacional. Right? But normally, in-person vote. Outro termo que você precisa aprender, early votes. the early votes, que pode ser tanto in person or by post service, is because of the pandemic. Lots of people did not go, did not go to the voting section to vote. So what happens, e aí que é muito diferente do Brasil, is that you can go to the voting section early, like 1 week before, and cast your in-person vote, or you can request a post ballot and send your vote through mail, through the United States Postal Service. Ballots é a cédula que você cast your vote. Polls são as apurações. Electoral votes are the votes from the delegates, from the Electoral College. All right? Why 270 is the magic number everybody must have seen, right? The 270, the magic number. That's very simple because we have 538 delegates. So it's 50% plus 1. That's 270. Yeah, okay. Cast the vote é votar. É dar o seu voto. Cast a vote. And provisional votes. Do you know what provisional votes are, Guga?
No.
Provisional votes is that when the person casts his or her vote early,
okay,
and decides to go on the same day and vote again. Não é foda isso?
Damn.
Huh?
Damn.
Yes. So provisional votes are votes that are not counted in the beginning. They are counted later because they have to be verified. Okay? They have to be verified. Why am I telling you all this? Why am I telling you all this? Because all of these terms here, you can watch CNN, ABC, NBC, USA Today, BBC. They're all talking about electoral votes, polls, ballots, early votes, in-person votes, absentee votes. This is a good one. Absentee votes. Absentee votes is the vote that the person casts through mail. All right? Good. Interesting facts. There is no Tribunal Superior Eleitoral, no special court of law for elections. And another one, the vote, this is very interesting. The vote is not compulsory. People don't have the obligation to vote like it is here in Brazil. What's the consequence of that? We never know how many voters there will be on the election. Because here in Brazil, all you got to do is count todos os títulos de eleitores. Você conta os títulos de eleitores, pronto, aqui nós temos tantos eleitores, vai sair tantos votos daqui, menos os absentee votes, right? Os absentees, right? Because there isn't absentee vote in Brazil. Anyway, so the vote is not compulsory. You don't have to vote. Each state officially takes care of the voting process, counting and announcing the results. Another interesting fact, the delegates vote in December when the official result is confirmed. So now, this is what you need to understand. Let's take a look at California here, okay? In California, there are 55 electoral votes, 55 delegates. What happens is that the people in California, they cast their votes for the senator, for the congressman, and for the president. But when it's for the president, they count the number of votes for presidents in that state. If Trump has 99% of the votes, he gets 55 electoral votes. If Joe Biden has 50% plus one vote, he gets the 55 electoral votes. Is that clear now? Então, ou seja, o cara ganha aqui no estado da Califórnia pelo voto popular, ok? The people vote. The state counts and the candidate receives all the delegate votes. A confusão é que as pessoas no Brasil achavam que cada um desses delegados votavam pela cabeça deles.
Prazer, pessoa do Brasil.
Oi?
Eu falei, prazer, pessoa do Brasil que achava que era assim.
Então, aí, por isso que dá all this confusion. All right? Well, wait a second. The population goes there and vote e foda-se. O cara vai votar da cabeça dele? Não. All right? There is a law in the state that says winner takes it all. So if the guy gets most of the votes here in the state, he gets all the 55 electoral votes.
Cool.
Okay? So now it's simpler. All you got to do is get to 270 votes. That's what we need to do. We need 270. So the interesting thing is that it doesn't matter, não importa o quão forte um candidato é aqui ou outro aqui, ele precisa dos 270 votes. And now, what happened last week? This is nice. Are you following me? Man, this is much better than a Formula One race. This is much better than Formula One race. All right? What happens is, because the United States is divided, I mean, Donald Trump has 50% of the country that supports Donald Trump, and 50% of the country supports more than 50%. Because if you look here, Biden has more popular votes. Here, Biden has more popular votes than Trump. But if Biden lost in the states que o Trump achava que ia ganhar, ele ia ter 76 milhões de votos, o Donald Trump ia ter 71 e o Donald Trump ia ganhar, como ganhou da Hillary Clinton 4 years ago. Hillary Clinton teve 3 milhões a mais de votos e perdeu a eleição. Why? Because of these states here. Okay? What matters is this number, 270. Okay? Good. What happens? The first votes to be counted on the election are the in-person votes. Okay? So on November 3rd, Trump had the majority of the votes of the people who went there to vote, the in-person vote. Okay? So on the first and second day of election, all the votes that were counted were the votes that were likely to be for Donald Trump. So on the first and second day of election, if you saw the results, you would say, Donald Trump is going to win. And that's what Donald Trump said. I was winning. What happened? Right? Now, the early votes, que são os votos enviados pelo correio ou votados nas sessões de votação antes, uma semana antes, they cannot be counted until the 3rd of November. All right? And they can only be counted after the in-person votes. So they started counting the early votes much later. That's why it took so long. Por quê? Because this was the election in the United States that had most popular votes in the entire 300 years of history in the United States. And that's why this is so important. That's why this is so important. So anyway, the early votes, post and in person, are counted later. So November 4th and 5th, Biden starts catching up on decisive states. By November 4th and 5th, Donald Trump was going to be the president of the United States. Okay? He had the election in his hand. Although Joe Biden had more popular votes. It doesn't matter. Right? But aí vieram os estados mais importantes. In these states, and let me explain to you another one, battleground states and swing states. What are battleground states? Battleground states are states that the difference in the votes are always very, very small. Okay? Always very small. And the swing states are the states that you never know. They're always Democrat or Republican, Democrat or Republican. The other states são sempre tradicionais. Example. The state of Texas has always been Republican. All right? The state of Montana has always been Republic. Idaho has always been Republic. North Dakota, all these states here are typically, traditionally Republicans. Okay? Now, swing states. Florida is considered to be a swing state, although it has favored Republicans recently. All right? So the swing states are the states that we don't know. There is no tradition for any of the parties, Republican or Democrats. Anyway, on Wednesday, these 6 states here were the ones that was going to decide who was going to win the presidency. Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. On Wednesday, Biden won in Michigan by like 1,000 votes. And in Wisconsin, that is traditionally Republican, Biden won by like 10,000 votes. Arizona, which is traditionally Republican, Biden won by, let's see. Here's Arizona. Let's take a look. For
10,000, 12,000. I don't know.
12,000 votes,
15.
and it's 98%.
Man.
98% counted. Okay?
Tight. That's tight.
So all these states here, okay. Wisconsin, look, 20,000.
My
20,000 votes. Michigan was 50,000 votes. And let me explain what happened to Pennsylvania. And in Nevada, the counting was very, very slow. Very slow. What happens is Donald Trump lost Michigan, lost Wisconsin, was undecided in Nevada, undecided in Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Georgia is traditionally Republican. All right? And in Pennsylvania, there were 20 electoral votes.
Wow.
So by winning Arizona, if Joe Biden won Pennsylvania, that's it. And look at the margins here. 369 to 322. That is 40,000 votes. That is a neighborhood in Belo Horizonte.
Buritis.
É Padre Eustáquio.
Man, this is insane.
Yes. So on Saturday, and there is another interesting fact that I'll show you later. On Saturday, November 7th, Biden wins in Pennsylvania. Mas como é que dizem que ele ganhou? Very simple. They count the number of votes and they count the number of votes to be counted. Se o número to be counted não é suficiente para o adversário virar,
resolvido.
Because there is no official, não tem nenhuma coisa federal e tudo. It's the press outlets. O que são press outlets? BBC, NBC, Associated Press, Globo News, Band News. These are all press outlets. All right? The press outlets that announce the result. That's it. The press announces. There is nothing official. Okay? So on Saturday, November 7th, Biden wins in Pennsylvania and is declared president-elect by the media outlets. Now, the question is, will Trump concede? What's concede? To say, I have lost.
All right.
I acknowledge the defeat. I acknowledge that Joe Biden is the winner. O Trump vai conceder ou não vai conceder? All the other presidents conceded, except Donald Trump so far. What do you think? Guga?
Well, I hope he concedes, man.
And you know what? Now it's time for you to ask questions. Vocês podem fazer perguntas. Ele tem que concede? Does Trump
legal.
have to concede? Yes or no?
Does he?
Right? Ele tem que entregar a presidência, sim ou não? That's a good question. Right? And quando é a eleição de verdade? Cool, isn't it? He does not have to concede. Okay? He doesn't have to concede. He can stay there. He has 73 days left in his presidency. Okay? During these 73 days, there will be the official electoral college election in December. And then we have the official results by the 279, 290. We don't know. So we have the final counts. He will try to file lawsuits in many other states, but without evidence, the judge can't accept. So all the judges are saying, okay, Donald Trump, I accept if you give me an evidence. Okay? If you show me an evidence that there has been fraud. If you don't show me an evidence, I can't do anything. Right? E mais uma coisa que o Trump não entende é que ele pode prejudicar senadores e deputados eleitos do Partido Republicano. right? Se o Trump ficar um menininho birrento, falar daqui eu não saio, daqui eu não saio, daqui eu não saio, no dia 20 de janeiro de 2021, Secret Service vai retirar qualquer invasor que tiver dentro da Casa Branca. Se entrar um invasor hoje na Casa Branca, o Secret Service vai lá, pega ele pela coleira, pelo colarinho e arranca ele de lá. Ou seja, qualquer pessoa considerada invasora na Casa Branca é retirada pelo Secret Service. All right. Guys, my question to you is, eu quero saber se você se sentiu desconfortável ao me escutar falando inglês most of the time e ao escutar o vídeo todo em inglês. Eu quero saber o seu nível de desconforto. Além de você me dizer se sentiu desconfortável ou não, eu quero te explicar que esse desconforto é uma questão de tempo. All right? Basta você pegar e expor os seus ouvidos novamente. E por estar desconfortável, a pessoa desiste. E fica dizendo que está muito velho, está muito velha, eu não tenho talento, e por aí vai. Por quê? Por causa do discomfort that happens when you don't understand. It is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable in the beginning. So if you do it again, if you listen again, se você pega as minhas magic stories e escuta de novo e de novo e de novo, esse desconforto vai embora. All right? So don't worry. Você que assistiu pela primeira vez, great. Agora você pode pegar a bolinha, voltar lá para o começo de novo. Você já vai saber mais ou menos o que eu vou dizer. Você já vai saber mais ou menos o que vai ser. Do that. Very good. Guys, that's it.